family get-together on the weekend, and you realize that your grandson is being raised by a moron.
Imbecile son-in-law. It's a common affliction.
Well, he married your daughter. There was a tip-off. But now it's serious because there's offspring involved.
The little rascal needs a dad, needs kind of a firm hand. Tradition.
Yeah, and you're afraid that your knee-jerk son-in-law is not going to raise the kid the way you would. Maybe not going to let him play with guns. Not ever going to let him throw the first punch. Or even the second.
Prefers soccer to baseball. It's very, European.
Don't worry, the kid will probably grow up, toughen up, and stop listening to his dad.
It's like we did.
Absolutely. Maybe get arrested a couple of times, you know? Nothing serious, just enough to make him a man.
It's worth 5 years in university.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My dad never hugged me, never held my hand. I turned out all right.
Men should not touch men.
So just give it time. Hopefully the kid will come around.
We did.
Oh, yeah. I want to talk to you guys about what you should tell your kids about life. See, now, in my day, fathers didn't talk that much to their kids. But the only advice my dad ever gave me was, don't slouch like that. It wasn't much, but it meant a lot. You know, I think now I kind of wish that my dad had maybe given me a little more advice. Not that the slouching thing wasn't really terrific, you know, but maybe he could have taught me about career or money or marriage or women or relationships. Something along that line, you know. Of course, now it's too late because Dad has left us. He's gone to live in Florida. But I was sitting here thinking, you know, what could I tell the people of today to tell their youngsters, you know, something that would help them out, you know? And I think of the one piece of advice that would have saved me a lot of grief and time and money. And I know what it is. Take care of your teeth. Yeah, friends come and go, families come and go, jobs come and go. But when you're built like I am, you're going to use these babies 5-6 times a day. So you fellas out there, you take your youngsters aside, sit them down and say, hey, take care of your teeth. What the heck, they're not going to listen to you anyway. Remember, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together. You know, with this lot being up for sale next door, I thought I'd use Handyman Corner to prove a point about the value of having an available parts supply for our various projects. For example, this might just look like a pile of useless crap to, say, your girlfriend or your wife or your mother, but the rest of us know that this is a tremendous source of raw material for anything we wanted to make. There might be a car in here that's never been built before, or maybe some kind of a customized hovercraft, or, hey, let's build something useful. How about a heart lung machine? Huh? The perfect Father's Day gift that keeps on giving. All right, now what you're gonna need for that, you gotta go through the pile and pick out anything that you could use to suck, pump, compress, or blow. All right, first thing you want to do is lie your patient down inside the freezer. Get his pulse down to around 0, but not too close, so there's no point in going any farther. All right, now you want to take one of these windshield washer units, which becomes the input to take the blood out of the victim, out of the patient, sorry. What you want to do is you want to hook this into whichever one of his orifices gives you the snuggest fit. And then out of the windshield washer pump, you go into your carburetor. All right, and this is where the blood gets mixed with oxygen. Now, if it's a fat guy, you might want to go with a 4-barrel, maybe put a supercharger on there. Another great thing about the carburetor unit is it's an ideal place where you can add medicine directly into the bloodstream, be it cortisone or maybe a medicinal alcohol like vermouth. And then out of the carburetor, you want to go directly into your water pump. And then out of the water pump, you blast the blood back out of one of these rad hoses, back into the patient. It might be hard finding an orifice that side, especially if he's cold. But anyway, you get all that stuff in there. That takes care of that. Now you want to deal with the lung part of the heart-lung machine. Okay, for that, you want to take a funnel like this, duct tape that right all over the patient's face, maybe put some putty in there and make it a real good seal. And then you hook the other end of the garden hose up to one of the taps on the sink, and then that runs into the nozzle, and now you've replaced the nozzle with, well, let's call it a balloon. That's hooked up to another hose, which runs down into a compressor. We haven't hooked that up yet. And what happens is when the compressor starts up, you see, puts air into the balloon, and then that releases back into your patient. Yeah. So, I'll put that all in there. Take the hose out. Hook her up into our compressor. And, as you can see, the whole unit is all driven by a gas lawnmower. So you don't have to worry about electricity cutting out in the middle of open heart surgery, which I would call a setback. Okay, so another thing, you might want to do all your operations outside, because I'll tell you, the gas fumes in one of them small operating theaters. So there, you're all set to go. All you got to do now is wait for the surgeon to say, okay, we're ready for the life support thing to start. But before I do that, I just want to remind you, if women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. All right, getting to work now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, begin life support. There we go. Choke. There. Hang on. I wish she's out of gas. No. I want to talk to you guys who've gotten married for the second time, and chances are you're now a stepdad for the first time. Okay, remember this. Stepdads scare kids. Okay? First of all, they think you're weird because you find their mother pretty. It'll take me a while to get over that one. Plus, you're kind of hard to get used to the way you look first thing in the morning and the way you laugh out loud at Dukes of Hazzard reruns. So just reveal yourself slowly to them, the same way you're planning to do with your new wife. And here's another tip. Spend some time with the kids, okay? I know it's a bit of a nuisance, but if you spend time with them now while they're young, it'll save you spending time driving their mother to penitentiaries on visiting days. I know it's a lot of work. Makes you wish you'd tried a little harder in your first marriage, doesn't it? But here's the upside. If these kids don't turn out, it's not your fault. They're not part of your gene pool. Remember, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together. This week on Handyman Corner, I thought I'd carry on with the theme of our father-son, father-daughter, mother-son, mother-daughter picnic banquet thing, namely tires. You know, the young girls of today, they're growing up, they're concerned with the ecology, they want to make a difference. So what do you say we make an entire girls' bedroom suite completely out of recycled tires? Girls like pretty things, so I suggest you go with the white wall on that. First thing we could build is a vanity mirror. Yeah, you already got the ebony frame on there with the decorator white accent. And then for your mirror, I suggest you go with the moon disc on there. It's an attractive unit, and it's got the curve on her there, and it makes women look slimmer than they really are. They really appreciate that, especially those 13-year-old girls going through that chunky stage. All right, now why don't we build a dresser for the girls' bedroom? For that one, all you do is stack up a whole bunch of tires and then cut a 4-inch hole in each one using a carpet knife. Perfect. Then once you got the holes cut, you want to stick patches on there to cover up the holes, kind of like your little doorways into the different compartments. So I put a wheel disc between every tire, so you got like little shelving in there. When you put the flaps on, you need some kind of a hinge. You can use metal hinges on that. You could glue some fabric on there. Or, if you like the look of silver, I suggest the handyman's secret weapon, duct tape. Then once you got all your flaps on there, of course, you can just reach in, get your various articles of clothing. Maybe you keep T-shirts there, and none of my business. And you got your, maybe, what do you got in here? Socks. All right, look at how neat and tidy looking that is. And that's just the beginning. You can also build a very attractive and useful girl's desk. Isn't that a beauty? And how about this is a nice little touch? A beautiful desk lamp. I know you won't believe this, but this is made out of tires. And we can also make ourselves a dandy little girl's bed. What do we use for a mattress? Inner tubes make sense, don't they? Why don't we add a little bit of romance, a little bit of excitement? How about one of those Victorian Renaissance, turn-of-the-century 4-poster beds, eh? Girls love that kind of stuff. What can we use for the posts? How about one of these rear end units, which you can get out of passing vehicles if you dig a big enough pothole? There we go. So now when your teenager gets tired, she can just retire to her tires. Let's see if it's comfortable. Fools rush in where angels fear the tread. Oh, boy. Oh, gosh. Now, that is beautiful. So remember, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. And to think we made this out of old rear ends. Actually, you can tell. Well, Harold, I'm probably going to regret this, but I've thought it over.
Oh, yeah? Okay, yes.
Well, you know, you are sort of flesh and blood in a way. I guess.
Yeah. You know, go ahead.
Seeing as your dad, you know, can't really make it to the... Well, all right, Harold, would you like to come to the father and son banquet with me?
No, I can't, sorry. I'm already going with somebody else.
What?
Oh, yeah, I ran into a couple kids who were looking for a father figure, namely me. So I'm gonna go with them. You already know these boys. I think, you know, Ricky and Ronnie?
The Rittman brothers?
Ritling. Name's Ritling.
Whatever, you know, I don't care about that, Harold. You know what they'd probably enjoy? The air dare.
Air dare?
Air dare, having an air dare. Sort of like that game Kaboom, only instead of with a wimpy little balloon, we blow up an inner tube from one of them earth movers. You know? You pay a quarter and you see how far you can take her before she blows. You know, it gets around about 200 pounds or starts to crackle and pop, you know. It'll take a real man to take her over 210.
Uncle Red, I don't think that's the point of a father and son banquet, you know. The kids don't want to stand around and watch somebody blow their arms off. Hey, kids want to do something with their fathers and their brothers and their family and stuff. You know, you should find games that, you know, kids will be interested in.
So you say cancel the air dare?
Yes.
What about the wheel wrench juggling?
Not a good idea.
You wonder why I don't have kids.
Welcome to the Possum Lodge word game, where tonight's grand prize is a weekend for two at the Solitaire Championships. Okay, Uncle Red, you have 30 seconds to get Mike Hammer to say this word. Father. Father. And go.
All right, Mike, your mother is married to...
Her job. Exotic dancing's her life.
All right, okay. I'm talking about the man who took care of you when you were young was your...
Truant officer.
This is a family member, Mike. The man who slept with your mother.
Could you be more specific?
Okay, growing up with just a mom, you knew you had a...
Curfew.
Another word for daddy.
Lifer.
All right, Mike. If your wife has kids, you'll be...
Long gone.
Whoa. Just like your...
Father.
There we go. We have a few father and son businesses in our area. You know, like Jones and Son Heating. It's always someone and son. Of course, the someone has a name. The son is just a son. You never see Dad and Jones. Now, when you're the father, it's probably natural to want your son to follow you into business. It's one of the many downsides of success. But you should remember, there are about 10 million different careers out there, and they keep inventing more. MP3 driver repairman, reality TV host, gay bar bouncer. Maybe your kid would rather be one of those. You may think he's like you, but if he doesn't share your taste in music, TV, movies, food, or tattoos, is he going to share your taste in jobs? Or maybe you just want him to be like you. Check with his mother. That may not be such a hot idea. Instead, let the kid decide for himself. Think of how many times a year you go and visit your dad. How'd you like to see him every day on the other side of your desk? You'd be even lazier than you are now. It's one of the laws of nature that when the father rises, the sun sets. Remember, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together.